Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you'd like this watch or would like to purchase at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'll be reviewing the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore reference 25940SK.OO.D002CA.01, the rubber clad in black and stainless steel. I'll tell you about a little bit about the history of this offshore. Then I'll tell you about where it stands in the lineup of other similar offshores. Then I'll tell you about the case, bezel, dial, bracelet movement. Finally try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start with the history. Well, the offshore only has been out for around 30 years. I believe it came out in around 1995. And this model, the rubber clad, came out in 2002, so not that much long after. The offshore had been relatively new. I mean, that's only, 7 years or something? And then it had like approximately a 10-year run, and when it was released, the rubber clad, there was only 2 variations. You could only get in black or white. That's it. And they also had a gold version that you can get. So there was not a lot of variations of it. Of course, they did many variations of other ones, but the rubber clad, that's it. And they never really followed up the rubber clad again. They did follow up the gold rubber clad, but so they currently have a gold rubber clad in the current collection as of 25, but they don't have a steel rubber clad, which is a little strange. They might actually come back with it, bring it back at some point, which they often do. But at least as of now, this is the most current rubber clad because they don't have another rubber clad. They've changed all the bezels for ceramic bezels, and that's probably for a functional thing, but there's still a market and people that want this old school rubber bezel because it's quite interesting actually. Okay, anyways, so that is a little bit about the history. Let's talk about where this watch stands in the lineup of other similar offshores. As I stated, this was produced back in 2002, and it had approximately 10-year run. So it's no longer being produced anymore. And they had, I think, a couple variations of it. Actually, I think they had a few very different variations of the rubber clad as well. I think 1, 2, and 3 generation of it. They all look very, very similar. Some small differences in the dial color and just some very minor differences. Okay, but more or less it's the same. It has yeah, that's a little bit about the history. And it's, by the way, I forgot to mention, it's 42 millimeters. They were only making basically 42 millimeters at the time. So at the time, it was also the largest offshore. It took a little bit of time before they started making really gigantic ones. I think probably like in 07 or 05 or something like that. They started making much bigger ones. But for the smaller offshore, this is the only one. Okay. Now let's move on here to start talking about the watch itself. Starting with the case. Case, as I stated to you, is 42 millimeters. It has your standard offshore case, 42, and the height is 14.5 millimeters. Interestingly, the height is actually, or the profile is actually thinner than the current 42 millimeters. And you might wonder why. Well, the current height of the 42 millimeters is actually 15.5 millimeters. And so this one is 1 millimeter thinner. You might be wondering why. Well, I'll get to it when I talk about the movement. But yeah, it's a little bit thinner, and it has more or less the same. The look of the case, it looks more or less the same. Beveled edge, satin finish top. Okay, let's look at the bezel now. This is where I think this watch really stands out and makes it very unique. It has a bezel that's literally made out of rubber, and it's steel underneath it. But it's rubber. It's coated over with rubber. Now, the only negative thing is that over time, the rubber can start to like deteriorate. If you hit it, it gets kind of smashed. And the only place that can really add the rubber back is going to be AP, and that's going to have to go in for service, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not so easy to find a watch with a good rubber bezel on it. And also the pushers are also made of rubber, so they can also wear. But it does make for a very unique look because not a lot of watches utilize rubber. Now, I'll tell you this. On the gold version of it, it's crazy. They actually put the bezel in gold and then they wrap it over with rubber so that you can't even see the gold. It's so strange. So they waste all this gold making the bezel and then they cover it so you can't even see it. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. But on the steel ones, they don't do that. Okay, now let's look at the dial. What's interesting about the offshore at this time is that the subdials are ranged in the 12, 6, and 9 pattern, as opposed to usually how they are is at the 3, 6, 9. So it's not the most common thing, but yeah, AP does it. And I believe that the reason they do that is because it is the movement. It has something to do with the movement. I'm not a watchmaker, but that's how they do it. Actually, they still do it this way on their 42 millimeter offshores. They put this 6, 9, 12 configuration as opposed to 3, 6, 9 configuration. So anyways, that's something to look out for. The bezel, the dial has this grand tapisserie pattern, which is similar to the Royal Oak, except it's a bigger waffles, if you will, bigger pattern as opposed to thinner or smaller, thinner ones like like what is on the Royal Oak. Okay, all right, and then of course you have the date at the 3 o'clock. So yeah, quite a nice watch. Okay, let's move here onto the strap. Now the strap back then, of course they did it in rubber. Nowadays you can detach the strap, which is pretty cool. Back then you could not. You'd have to use a double-sided screw to unscrew this rubber strap. And the buckle was this kind of not the greatest buckle. They've changed it, but it's not a bad buckle. It's an old school AP folding buckle. You can have the words AP written on it, and that's just how they did it back then. And now they have a sort of a better buckle that is kind of a butterfly buckle. You click it and it opens. But anyways, that's what it was back then. Still a very functional a buckle, old school way to do it. And the case back, now the movement. Now the movement is a 2326 movement, and they've been using this movement for a really long time. And actually I think they still use it in some pieces. And what is good about it? Well, it's one of their few movements that they've been using for a super long time, that is, and it's thinner. That's one of the main things. They use it on basically all of the offshores during this time. Even the 44 millimeters are all using this one, and I don't think they use it anymore, but all of the offshores at the time, from I'd say 2002 until 2012 or something, were using this movement, or maybe even longer. All those special editions are all using the same movement. And so they cover the movement. Why? Because I think it's a little bit small. The diameter is only 29 millimeters, and so they don't really want to show it. But if you actually look at the movement, which I've seen, it has a half gold rotor, and it's still very well done, very beautiful movement still, but they cover it because I think it's a little bit small, and they're using it in all the different special editions. But in the special editions, they usually write something cool on the case back, so maybe that's why they don't want to show the movement. Okay, anyways, that's the movement. And time to try this watch on my wrist. Now I'm 6 foot tall, 200 pounds. I have a 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, the Offshore is a very nice size for myself. I could recommend anyone with a 7-inch wrist or larger. And if you want to get an old school watch and get into the brand Audemars Piguet at a reasonable price, we're selling this watch in the teens. And so, you can get a good watch from a super high quality brand such as Audemars Piguet, and you can get a very unique watch with quite a bit of history on it too. So look, if you want to buy this watch at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.